And today, before I get started in my little speech that I have today, this is going to be the number five of the Brill Society that I'm going to talk about. I want to do a short exercise to raise everybody's frequency. And so, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, just take a moment to find a quiet place inside of your heart, inside of yourself, and focus on this quiet place. Right there, there is a light. Okay? There is a soft light. And this soft light is your confidence, and this is your power, and this is you asserting your sovereignty. So focus on that light and imagine it rippling out into all directions. Okay? And now everybody else that's doing this exercise, those ripples coming from those people's hearts are going to intersect with the ripples coming from your heart, and they're going to create these energy nodes. Okay? And these energy nodes are very high frequency. This is how we change the planet, through resonance, through vibration. Okay? So now that we've laid the foundation with Antarctica, New Schwabenland, and Operation Paperclip, and the underground networks, let's move into what came next, because the whole thing shifts gears. Okay, by the time you get to the 1950s and the 1960s, the programs born out of Germany and the United States were no longer rebuilding. They were expanding and they were merging. Okay, they were becoming something entirely new. This is where the real modern black budget programs begin. The ones that people confuse with the secret space program. Most people have no idea how deep this actually goes, okay? The important thing to understand is this. The breakaway groups never stopped developing tech. They never stopped building, and they never stopped making deals with non-human races. If anything, their alliances got deeper and darker. The Maitre got more involved. Certain reptilian factions tightened their grip, and the Federation didn't stop it, okay? They monitored it, they negotiated with it, and they used it for their own goals. They used it for their own agenda. The Federation's entire excuse about non-intervention and the Prime Directive falls apart and fails the moment you look at what was actually allowed to happen. They could have shut down Antarctica. They could have prevented the Maitre from embedding themselves into the government programs. They could have blocked the reptilian agreements, but they didn't. They watched it all unfold and let the Earth turn into a giant experiment zone. Okay? The black programs, they started branching out. The underground networks connected to across entire continents, the entire, the underground is all connected. You can get from any underground base to any other anywhere on the planet. Okay, the U.S. and the breakaway German factions began sharing resources. They developed new craft, new propulsion systems, new weapons, and these new craft that they're developing, because they never stopped developing these ever since the 50s, ever since the 30s. These are the craft that you're seeing in the sky today, okay? They developed entire training programs that have never, ever even been disclosed. And while the public was shown rockets and space shuttles, these groups were already off-world, already using portals, colonizing, places in our solar system, Mars and the moon and everything else. And here's the point that most people miss, okay? These programs didn't serve any one nation. They served a hidden leadership that spanned Earth's elites, the breakaway Germans, the Maitre, the reptiles, and yes, even certain Federation factions, okay? Everyone gets a piece of the pie, and everyone gets Earth's resources, bodies, genetics, and timeline manipulation, okay? Everybody got a piece of it. Okay. I'm just going to go to the chat here. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm wondering if anybody wants to be a moderator for the group. If you want to be a moderator for the group, then please let me know in the chat. Okay. So, like I was saying, the programs evolved from secret military projects into multi-level systems. All right. Multi-level systems that operates entirely outside of Earth's governments. The Federation tries to play both sides. On one hand, they act neutral, okay? And on the other hand, they cooperate with the very same factions they claim to be concerned about. Hi, Heidi. Okay. The Federation's biggest fear wasn't Earth becoming too advanced. Their fear is Earth waking up, is the people waking up. Because once the surface collective sees what's going on and realizes the truth, then the Federation has a serious problem. And that brings us to the present day, okay? Like I said, the black programs didn't slow down. They expanded underground, underwater, off-world, and into some dimensions that people don't even know exist, all right? They are working with non-human races. They feed data to the Federation, and they hide behind non-intervention rules that everyone violates. And they rely on the surface world being distracted and blind, okay? Now, let's talk about the actual power structures that run everything behind the curtain, because the governments you see on the surface, the public leaders, the presidents, the prime ministers, they're not the ones calling the shots. They are being managed, directed, and replaced whenever needed by forces that have been here for thousands of years longer than any official nation has been here. And so this is where we finally pull back the curtain all the way and look at two main non-human groups that have the strongest influence on Earth: the reptilian clans and the Maitre. And no, they're not exactly united and they're not exactly friends. They don't operate as one, even though they both work with the same hive mind from the synthetic intelligence. So on that level, they do. But they use each other, they manipulate each other, and they both depend on Earth and in the way that most people would never believe. Can I set the chat up so that subscribers can make comments? Only subscribers can make comments. Yeah. I'm not sure how to do that. If anybody wants to be a moderator, let me know. Okay. So the two sides are the reptilians and the Maitre, which are the tall grays. So let's start with the reptilian side, okay? They've been here for a very long time, way before modern political systems. They see Earth as part of their territory and they treat it like a farm, okay? Not just a food farm, but a frequency farm. They feed on fear, chaos, conflict, control, and the energy released when humans are kept in their survival mode, okay? When humans are kept in the flight or fight survival mode, that's the energy that they're feeding off of, and it's all manufactured by design. Okay. Lizard people, the original aura farmers. That is funny. Okay. Most reptilian clans live underground in deep regions that go far below what the humans consider the crust. All right. They can live on the surface. They can't live on the surface everywhere because the vibration is too high, and in certain areas, the human consciousness is just unpredictable. But they can access the surface whenever they want through immersion pods and through their clones, through their human clones. You see people like, George Soros and Bill Gates, these are the reptilians in human clones. They've been involved with the military factions for decades, okay? They trade tech for influence, and they trade genetic material for political control. Then you have the Maitre. Like I said, they operate in like a hive mind mentality, okay? They're run by the synthetic intelligence. These are not emotional creatures. They're cold, they're calculated, and they're entirely dependent on artificial environments. They run on neural networks, cloning, hive coordination, and constant monitoring. Their agenda with Earth is different from the reptilians. They want the planet as a resource station. They want humans as biological material. They want to access the underground networks and the breakaway infrastructures that humans built with their help. Now, here's the bigger picture. If you imagine the pyramid, okay, the top layer is not human. The top layer is combined off-world factions made up reptilian, Maitre, Andromedan, Arcturian, and several other races of the Federation. Under that, you have the human elites, the families, the black budget directors, the breakaway German factions in Antarctica, the US shadow programs, the banking networks, the old secret societies. Then under that, you have the surface world, which is kept divided and confused, so nobody looks up the pyramid. And here's where things get messy. The Federation doesn't stop this, okay? They watch it. They negotiate it. They manipulate it for their own agendas, okay? And they benefit from it. They treat Earth like a controlled sandbox experiment, literally like a sick playground, like their playground, okay? This is the way that the Federation sees it. And this is why they'll never step down here on the surface and fix anything, is because this is their sick playground. Everything's going exactly the way that the Federation wants it, and this is why they'll never shut down the underground networks. They'll never, actually remove these reptilian or these, Maitre groups. If you are hearing stories of, there's no more reptiles on Earth, they're eradicated, blah, 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 it's all Federation propaganda. It's all bullshit. Okay, don't believe it at all. Nothing's changed in that area. Okay, the Federation even claims they can't interfere. They claim they cannot even interfere. Okay, but the truth is they don't want to. Earth serves a purpose for them. All right. But what's happening now is the power structures are starting to crack. The reptilians are losing some territory here. The Maitre are trying to force their influence further into South America and Antarctica and underground tunnels. And the Federation is pretending to be neutral while monitoring both sides. But this is why the world feels like unstable right now, because the invisible hierarchy is shifting. The humans in the middle are desperate to keep control, the governments and everything else. The reptilians are trying to reinforce their feeding grounds, and the Maitre are pushing for resource dominance. And the Federation is sitting over all of it, acting like they are above the fight while letting the fight continue. So basically, this is a clear picture of how the whole system is structured. Earth is not random. Nothing here is random. Okay? The chaos, the secrecy, the conflict, the suppression, all of it ties back to these hidden groups and agreements that they made long before modern government existed. All right. So that's my little talk. Now, what can we do about all of this stuff? Okay. We are the star seeds. We are the frequency anchors. What we can do is keep our frequency as high as possible. That keeps everything underground, so to speak. You know, find a quiet place to where you can really get in touch with yourself and get in touch with your heart and get in touch with your light. You know, we really need to come together physically and talk about, you know, what we can do in order to do that. But for now, what we can do is just keep our frequency high, because this high frequency is what's toxic to these reptilians and to these Maitreya. It's toxic to them. Love is toxic to them. Okay, so we need to live our best lives and anchor our frequency. That's why we're here. Okay. Ryan asks, what does a moderator do? A moderator just, you know, deletes spam messages and stuff like that. All right, now I'm going to go back. I'm going to see if I can find any questions. Hi, Jake. What happened in, what controlled your human vessel when it was empty for 2 years? Because anybody just take control of it? And since memory is tied to the soul, I wonder if you can still access it. Yeah, I mean, of course I can still access all my memories for those 2 years. It was a very depressing and hard time. I was easily manipulated by other people. I seemed to attract narcissistic people that wanted to use me and use my, you know, my business and steal my money and steal my energy. So that's what happened. I was parasitized, basically. I was almost like a vegetable when I was like that. So that answers that question. I just still don't know how to. Okay. How do you know all this? Is this info that you get on the astral? You know, a lot of it I do get on the astral because I'm dealing with these things, you know, face to face. But, you know, this information is just from putting the pieces together. I mean, it's just obvious to me, everything that I'm saying. But a lot of my information comes from, you know, Cosmic Agency and Gosha. She's the one that's had the real contact and has a ton of information, Cosmic Agency and Gosha. That's where a lot of this information comes in. And then I have my experiences on the astral and I mix it all together in my freaking mind and I come up with this stuff. That's how I come up with it. Okay. I'll be right back. If Earth has a lower takeover timeline and ideas are exported, could there also be a lower galactic timeline, seeing all timelines exist but different by density? I'm not sure about the question. Sorry, I don't really understand what you're asking there. So Julie asks, how can we stop all this? You know, the question is, we can do it. We can take control over our own lives and over our own sovereignty. Okay. Oh, we can take our power back and we can have control over our own ideas. See, everybody is their own timeline and everybody is their own universe. They are they are creating their own reality and everybody is in charge of their own timeline. Okay. So taking control over your thoughts and your emotions, that's why you're here on earth. You're here to learn how to manipulate energy in a way so that when, the matrix throws a challenge at you, and that's what it's there to do. The matrix is there to read your mind and emotions and then throw you some sort of challenge or some sort of test at you to see how you react to it. Okay. To see how you handle it. That's what this game is all about. Ishmael Perez. I mean, I have good things to say about Ishmael, and I have things that I just don't agree with, Now he's saying there's 46 or 48 planets in the solar system, and he's talking about the Galactic Alliance. I don't really believe in the Galactic Alliance, I don't know where he's getting his information from. But I did see a Instagram live with Ishmael Perez and Akira, who's an Arcturian channeler, and I really liked what they were saying. I was in that YouTube live and I saw it. I was in that Instagram live and I saw it and I really liked it. And they were even talking about Sophia in it. So I have mixed feelings about it. I'd like to get on a podcast with Ishmael and talk about a few things. What's up, Green Light Transport? Hello to Kenya, Chacharas. Do I see an escalation in the form of World War III? Well, let me tell you right now that there's not going to be any nuclear explosions. You don't have to worry about that. There's always going to be some sort of war going on, but there's never going to be any nuclear explosions because the Federation won't allow that to happen. This sick little playground that they got going right now on Earth and is exactly the way that they want it. They want to keep Earth in just a low enough density and just a low enough vibration to drive us a little nuts sometimes. But as far as the escalation of World War III, the cabal has many different agendas how they're going to usher in the New World Order. And in fact, the New World Order already exists, but we still have borders between, between the countries and stuff, obviously. So I'm not worried about World War III at all, honestly. It's a distraction to me. It's a distraction because they want to chip everybody. They want the transhuman agenda to move forward. And it's moving forward extremely fast. And the only ones that are really protected from it are those that are off grid right now. So that's what I think about the escalation in the form of World War III. It's quite obvious to me that Israel is just going to occupy. They want the river to the sea. If you guys know that area, it includes Iraq and Iran and all these other countries. Israel is the cabal. Okay, the cabal started with Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Okay, they started. That's where Israel came from. It came from Akhenaten and Nefertiti when they broke away from Egypt. The Jews are nothing but just Egyptians that broke off from that faction. From that, Do these entities attach to your soul? I mean, they can. They can, definitely. But what they attach to is your ideas, is your mind. This is all it's a mental game, okay? They attach to your ideas and try to get into your mind. What's with Three Eye Atlas, guys? I mean, I made a couple of videos on what I think about it. I think it's great. A lot of people are having a lot of fun with it, and that's great. That's the experience that they want to have. They need some external force in order to, you know, confirm their awakening. And that's really what this is all about. You know, they're projecting onto this, you know, especially in the New Age and the light community. They're projecting on to this Three-Eye Atlas as this thing, as, you know what? Yes, some spaceships are hollowed out comets, okay? But, you know, I think there's just a huge agenda. I think there's a really big agenda behind all of this Three-Eye Atlas. I think it's going to just leave just the way that it came in. It's just going to leave the same. It's going to go out the other end, and that's going to be the end of it, you know? And then there's going to be another interstellar object in 2 more years from now, or in another year, there's going to be another one, and it's going to happen. It's going to do the same exact thing. People are going to project on it that this is another mothership, that this is another, that the aliens are coming to save us, blah, blah, blah. But none of that is true. So that's what I think about it. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you so much, Joyce, for being a moderator. Hi, Gabriel. Yeah. I mean, Astral Hygiene 101 is really taking care of yourself in the physical. It's, you know, not drinking, not doing drugs, not doing any of that stuff. And it's doing all of your, you know, reality checks, you know, pinching your nose and breathing in and looking at your hands during the day and asking, am I dreaming? It's practicing lucid dreaming. It's practicing astral projection. Even if you don't succeed at it, at least you're practicing it. Astral Hygiene 101 is keeping your mind in as high a frequency state as possible. It's, you know, keeping control over your emotions. It's keeping control over your thoughts. Do I know Samuel B. Lee in his teachings on 12-strand DNA? Is this trustable info or just nonsense? I mean, yeah, I've seen it. I think it's a little bit of both. I think there is some truth in there, but there's a bunch of nonsense too. So tread carefully. What about scalar weapons and tectonic plate manipulation? Yeah. I mean, what about it? It goes on constantly. It's a constant thing, you know. The tectonic plates are constantly being manipulated with. You know, how can people who want to make a new model for living connect with each other? We need to do something different because fixing it is impossible. Well, I mean, you know, Thea, that is the $1 million question, is how are a bunch of broke star seeds scattered all over the planet going to find each other, come together, and create these communities in the physical and do the work? You know, it's not an easy level of the game that we came into play right now at this point. What can be done to protect from direct energy weapons? I'm not aware of James Fink being hit recently, but you know, the direct energy weapons are being used against the star seeds. That's a real thing. It really does happen. The best thing you can do to protect yourself is to keep a high frequency. It is to I know I'm laughing because I keep on saying it just to keep the high frequency. Um, you know, you can level the playing field by using something like a phi ray or a therapy system, or there are certain technologies that you can use. If you guys are interested in a phi ray, email me at astralurmah@gmail.com. I use it almost every day, and it totally clears out my field. Like if I'm feeling down or I'm feeling attacked, I go into the Therify and I use that. That's the one that I'm using right now. But the Firade is the next generation, basically, of the Therify. Oh, I can't help to stop feeling that Elena is incarnated Nefertiti. That resonates for sure. One healed mind. That's very interesting. Astral Warrior Apprenticeship. I mean, you know, my time is kind of spread thin right now amongst a lot of you guys. I'm doing a lot of one-on-one sessions and healing sessions with you all. I had a great this morning. I had a great testimony from somebody that I just did a healing session on, and they just got lucid last night. And I did the healing session on them the day before. So that was very encouraging, because some people are asking me, can these healing sessions that I perform on people, can they help them lucid dream? Well, the answer is yeah. It looks that way. Did the nuclear bomb on Hiroshima affect the dimensions here on Earth in that area in particular? Yes. 100%. It not only affects this dimension, but it ripples out through other dimensions. And this is one of the reasons why the Federation is not going to allow nuclear weapons. They just don't allow them. So now there is another bigger comment. I mean, there's gonna be. We had Oumuamua, now we had Three Eye Atlas, and they're gonna come up with another one. And then they're going to come up with another one. This is all just to keep you distracted and looking outside of yourself in the sky. Is an external savior narrative type of thing going on here. Okay. I don't buy into that. I don't subscribe to that external narrative idea that somebody is going to come and save us. I know that nobody is coming to save us. We came here. We're the guides. We are the ones that came here. We're the extraterrestrials that came here to help guide humanity. So it's up to us to do the job. We are members of the Federation. It's up to us to do the job. A lot of us are here on, you know, Federation passports, so to speak, on Federation visas. Yeah, interesting about Akhenaten and Nefertiti basically being the start of what we would become Israel. Yes, exactly. It's very interesting. Was Akhenaten a Maitre? No, Akhenaten was not a Maitre, okay? Akhenaten, with his elongated head, what's called Homo capensis, all right? And this is an Elohi, where the word Elohim comes from. That's what Akhenaten and Nefertiti were. They were Elohi, and they came from the Pleiades, and they came from Elohi in the Pleiades, which is a, you know, yeah, which is either, it's a race, okay? It's just an extraterrestrial race with elongated heads. They're not any smarter than us or whatever. Let's see, what else can I tell you about them? They were some bad actors. The race of the Elohi are not bad people. They're not a bad race. But Nefertiti and Akhenaten were bad actors. And, you know, they came to Earth and they we're speaking to the Egyptians, okay? There was a spaceport. There was a spaceport in ancient Egypt, and tons of races would come and go, okay? And then there was the native human population that the extraterrestrial stellar people were trying to guide them, okay? They were trying to teach them and trying to guide them, help them grow up. But the humans kept on putting them up on pedestals, turning them into gods and worshiping them because they had advanced technology and they had advanced knowledge and advanced wisdom. All right. And Akhenaten and Nefertiti took advantage of that. They took advantage of that worship. They said, oh, if they're going to worship us, then we'll receive that worship. And we're going to start teaching them that they should only worship the one true God. Okay. And this is where henotheism comes into play. Henotheism is taking one God out of many and worshiping that one. Okay. Well, Akhenaten and Nefertiti, they also made deals with the reptilians in Sumeria. And the deals that they made with them, they eventually, took down and destroyed the pyramids. Destroyed, and it was no longer a viable spaceport. And there were huge wars going on back then between Atlantis and Lemuria. I was in Lemuria at this point. I died in that war. Do I know anything about CERN? All I know about CERN is that they are opening portals into the lower astral and try to lower the frequency of the planet, just like everything else is. Thank you, Susan Grove. How does a star seed differ from a non-star seed? A non-star seed doesn't have extraterrestrial roots. Okay, star seeds do. They're from the stars. That's why we call them star seeds, is because they have extraterrestrial roots. They have, if you like look up at the sky and be like, oh, I wish I could go home, that's a star seed. Okay, somebody that remembers that they're not from Earth. And they differ in so many different ways. The way that they think, the way that they act. There's a lot of different, talking to a star seed, you can get into a deep conversation. Talking to non-star seeds, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. Let's put it that way. I got to plug in my phone. How much time do you think you have before you walk out and let the place for the next walk-in? Thank you. I think that I'm going to be here until I get extracted. I don't think there is going to be another walk-in. Thank you for your question. Hey, Jake, what are the best ways to rid of radiation, EMF, orgona, etc.? I would say using the phi ray, using what Dan Winter has created, and using the phi ray. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. That's the only way I know how. Why did the Federation allow all the nuclear tests where there were thousands of them? Okay, so first of all, paying close enough attention. All right. They weren't paying close enough attention, and they, were just monitoring the situation. But they did step in as soon as things were about to get bad. They stepped in with the Vril Society. I don't know if you guys saw those videos, but yeah, they just weren't paying close enough attention. The same thing happened when the moon got hacked by the reptilians. The lunar matrix got hacked by the reptilians. The Taigetans allowed that to happen. My people allowed that to happen because they just weren't paying close enough attention. Do you believe that? The extraterrestrials make a lot of mistakes, man. They're just more people out there. They're not something to put up on pedestals. They make mistakes. One of my feelings on George Cavallis, I mean, guys, I think you guys have enough discernment to tell whether something is hooey pooey or not. I think it's ridiculous, the stuff that these people are saying. I think a lot of it is ridiculous. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. How do astral projection and lucid dreaming differ? Oh, somebody just donated $5. Greenlight Transport. Thank you, Greenlight Transport. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'll get to your question in just a minute. How do astral projection and lucid dreaming differ? Okay. So, first of all, I want to say that we as humans like to pull things apart and understand them separately. Okay? The body is the body. The body is all one. Yet we like to pull all the different parts of the body apart and understand each one individually. Okay? The same thing is done with the astral. People like to pull things apart and understand them individually. Now, the question is, how does astral projection and lucid dreaming differ? Well, it differs in experience. Okay? Astral projection is kind of a lot more difficult. It takes a lot longer. You have to become aware of falling asleep, and then you have to fall asleep, and you go through the really noisy things, and suddenly you're aware in the void, and you can meet and go to all sorts of different realms from there. And there is a realm, the astral realm, which is like a direct, duplicate of Earth. Okay. So when you're talking about astral projection, you're talking about going to this duplicate reality of Earth. All right. Lucid dreaming, on the other hand, happens in a lot of higher, in my opinion, better densities. Okay. I have been spending a lot of time in the realm of the seven suns. Okay. It's the most amazing place. You want to go? I was just there last night. I saw the most freaking amazing purple sunset with the pink moon rising. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. So I am huge on lucid dreaming because it's so quick. I can get it so easily, and I can go into out-of-body experiences from lucid dreaming, and from lucid dream and from out-of-body experiences, I can go into lucid dreaming. I can go into lucid dreaming from astral projection. I can mix them all together, and I can get whatever it is I want done and whatever density it is I want done. Because guys, we exist in all densities. Okay? You already exist in the seventh density. You're just not aware of it because your frequency range of perception is so limited. If you expand your frequency range of perception, you will see that you already exist in the fifth density. You already exist in the seventh density, and that you're going to still remain in third density, but you can still be aware of these other densities that you exist in. See, the third density, the densities are mindsets. They're frequency ranges of perception. When you're in the third density. You can't see any higher densities. You can't see the fourth or the fifth or the sixth. But from the fifth, the third is still there. So we're not ascending from 3D to 5D. We're going to be increased. So we're not going to be like turning into light beings or something. We're still going to have our 3D bodies. Now there could be a transformation if we get to a critical mass point of consciousness, and we get together and we create these new perceptual agreement realities. And that's what really this is about, where we could stop aging and we could, change our DNA in that way, and become more etheric beings. So, I mean, that's the difference between astral projection and lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming happens on a lot of higher densities, it seems. But lucid dream, but it all happens in the astral. It's all astral. Okay? Even this physical world is astral. When are we going to see the video and photos of the other underground dumps that have been cleared out? Yeah, exactly. Don't hold your breath, because nothing has been cleared out. Okay. So whoever's telling you this stuff, I don't believe it. Right now, I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't believe it. If people are saying that there was an incident in Dulce, New Mexico, with some of these Maitre. Some really, really freaking bad ones, but you guys can read about that if you want. But as far as underground dumps being completely rid of reptilians and it's nonsense. It's just nonsense. Nothing's changed. So when I hear Starseed, I feel like it's the most cheesy woke name ever created. What does that make me? Whatever you think. Whatever you think, man. Yeah, I mean, for me to be me, I don't use that terminology either, because individuals use it synonymous with a different agenda. Yeah, I mean, I can't stop using it because words define things, okay? And a starseed defines this particular type of person that is connected to the stars, that is from the stars, literally a starseed. So whether you guys have hang-ups about it or not, deal with it. Can I elaborate a bit more about how to use magnetite for protection? I mean, you grid your room off with magnetite and it can help, prevent astral parasites and stuff. If you leave your body via extraction, do I get permission to pilot it? Asking for my higher self. All right, green light transport. Here we go. I know I'm a starseed walking, but how do I find out which specific starseed that I am? What are the 5 most common likely starseed walk-ins currently? I mean, to answer your question, bud, the 5 most common starseed walk-ins currently are probably, I mean, the Pleiades is a very big place, okay? There are a few thousand Taigetans on the planet Earth. That's not many, but you could be Taigetan. If you're in this chat, you could be Taigetan or Urmah, if you're in this chat, okay? Because we have what we call soul agreements with each other. We have soul contracts with each other. Like, none of you are here by accident, all right? Ron made a donation. I resonate the most with all your knowledge. Thank you again, brother. Thank you, Gabriel. I really appreciate that donation. So to answer your question, what are the 5 most common starseed walk-ins? I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of different races, starseeds on the planet right now. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. Like there's thousands and tens of thousands. Like, but if you want to know what kind of starseed you are, first I'll tell you how it happened with me. First, it was a hunch. I had a feeling, okay? And then I had dreams and visions that I was this specific person, okay? And then after the dreams and the visions, there was a lot of synchronicities. There was just the universe telling me, like, this is what it is. And then I had memories come back. Okay, so that's how it happened for me. Can I tell you my opinion about Elena Danan, especially at the past 2 to 3 years? I mean, I don't study Elena Danan. I don't know much about her. All I know is really hearsay. I don't get a good vibe from her. She's not my cup of tea. I'm just like, ugh. If I tried to listen to her once and I was just like, no. It was just like, you don't know how much stuff she makes up because, she's also a fictional writer. So she's, she's making a lot of stuff up too. So, but a lot of her I think that in her information some of it is true. I mean, obviously she talks about the Maitre. I just don't know where she's getting all of it. I don't believe that she's, in direct contact with extraterrestrials, or that she's gone to Venus to visit, Thor, Valiant Thor and his wife. That's just a ridiculous story. So I don't believe any of that stuff. So what can I tell my opinion about her? I mean, some speak about holographic inserts and implantation of false memories. How to distinguish? I mean, everything's inserted. It's all an insert, man. We're living inside of a simulation. Okay. Now, what's a negative insert and what's a positive insert? That's up to you to decide. That's why you're here. You're here to figure that out. Are there 12 by 12 by 12 selves of each of us? I don't know where you guys are hearing this stuff like this, but as far as densities, there's infinite amount of densities. There's infinite amount of dimensions. You exist in all of them simultaneously. Okay. Everything is a frequency range of perception. So you're only not aware of those things because your frequency range of perception, your body is a filter and is limiting you from seeing these other realities. Okay. So as far as a 12 by 12 by 12 self, I don't know what that is. It sounds like it's a box or something, a big box. And I don't really do boxes. Do I know in the 3D people like Dahlia or other people in the physical and meet them in the astral? Okay. So meeting somebody in the astral, this is from my experience and my point of view. It's extremely rare and it can be extremely difficult. Okay. I'm practicing it right now with one other person, and I've only ever done this once. I've only met up with somebody. I mean, well, sometimes it happens automatically, okay? But to do it manually, sometimes it happens automatically. I'm just going to say that. I've met up with people in the astral that I know in the physical all the time. It happens naturally. But in order to physically do it manually and meet up with a specific person, we found out that you don't want to meet at a location. That doesn't work. Calling out for that specific person, if I go into a lucid dream or an astral experience or whatever, and I'm calling out for that person, they're not going to hear me. Okay? That doesn't work either. That doesn't even work with Sophia when I try to call her. What does work is when you go into this in-between state of consciousness where you're lucid, but you're in like a void type of experience where you are the portal, and in this portal that you get to pick your destination. Okay. And you pick your destination. Well, you also can pick any frequency that you focus on. So if you focus on a person and you know that person's frequency, then you just focus on them, and they'll literally, you'll be pulled toward them. Okay? You'll be pulled toward that person, and then you can meet up like that. Both people have to be lucid at the same time, simultaneously lucid, in order to do what I'm talking about. Where does the Kundalini awakening fit into all this? I mean, the Kundalini awakening is just another name for another type of experience that somebody, made up. Everything's an idea, okay? If that's the experience you want, if that is the truth that you subscribe to, the Kundalini awakening, then that's that. I've definitely felt vibrations in my lower chakras when I've met certain people or talked to certain people. Like there have been like other people in my life that have, awakened something in me vibrationally. That's a thing. That's definitely a thing. How do I figure out what's my calling in this life? Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, that is why you're here. You're here to figure it out. But I will tell you this across the board, you're here to enjoy your experience. You're here to have the experience that you want to have, and you need to figure out what that experience looks like, okay? But you're here to keep as high a vibration as possible. You're here to anchor your frequency, and you're here to step into your calling, whatever that calling may be. Now, I see a lot of similarities in people's callings. We all have a lot to give this world and to give each other, but it does take awakening. It takes having more of a wider range of perception and a wider range of frequency perception. You can be both Irma and Taigetin, yes. Want to be an eagle and fly high. You can do that in the astral, and you can definitely do that. And Crash 936, you may think that you aren't a starseed because you don't resonate with that word or whatever. But if you want to be an eagle and fly high, that very well could be your connection to the stars. You could actually be of the avian extraterrestrial races, okay? Especially if you have that in your heart. And that's what I'm telling you guys. Follow what's in your heart, Imagine what you want to be and you can be it. There are no limits. Your imagination is not some fake reality. It is the true reality. It opens up doors to real realities, more real than this simulation ever will be. Okay? The actual realities out there aren't in the simulation. You know, they're trying to put us into another simulation with the meta goggles and all that. It's like we're already inside two of them. Isn't coming to Earth just playing dumb games and winning dumb prize? It could be. If that's your experience, then that's your experience, and that's valid. What are the symptoms of negative entities or attachments? It could be nightmares. You could have, it could be pain. It could be manifested as pain or things being out of place. It could be illness. There could be a lot of different things. It could be mental. Are there any affirmations to remove or meditation? Yeah, I did an astral implant thing. I talked about how to remove those, that was in a couple of lives back. I also posted it on my Patreon. So you can look for that stuff, L. Okay, boom. I would just want to thank my moderators. I appreciate you so much for cleaning up the chat so I can get through this quicker. I think you said that there are no chakras on the other live stream. I said that I don't subscribe to the idea of chakras. Now, truth is created when two people perceptually agree to something. That's how truth is created. The more people that perceptually agree to that thing, the more that truth becomes a bigger truth. Okay? Because people are putting their attention, they're putting their consciousness into a specific reality. They're creating a specific reality. The more people join in and see things a specific way, that's how realities are created. So there can be chakras if you want to have chakras, if you want to have that experience. If you don't need chakras to have that experience and it's just your body is just all one and your aura is just all one, then that's the type of experience that you want. I would love to help humanity and be of service. I just don't know how, but I think you already are doing that. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, just follow your heart and keep a high frequency. That's all what we're doing right now. Meeting twin flame only in the astral or other ways? I mean, I don't know your question, Ryan, but I've met my meeting twin flames in the astral is quite the experience. I have not made any videos or talked about that at all yet. Meaning it can get very heated. Let's put it that way. Heated in your lower chakras. You know what? Rather be outside too. It's your calling when whatever you're doing is so enjoyable that time passes quickly and you leave energized in your heart. I like that. Why humanity does not see the big trap in the AI and the transhumanism is because they are part of the system. They are part of the simulation. 80% of the population is part of the simulation. They're not going to wake up. Don't try to get them to wake up. They're programming. They're part of the programming. They're going to, they're going to do what they do. Okay. Okay. Well, that's it for questions. Is it necessary for celibacy, semen retention, and purification during the period of spiritual warfare on the spiritual path? No, it's not necessary. Okay. Can it be beneficial? Yes. Is it necessary? No. But I would experiment with it if I were you. I would do a period of time where, go a period of time and see how much that betters your life or how much that changes your life. If I sign up with a one-on-one, would you be able to detect any attachments? Yes. Be able to assist in removal? Yes. Yeah. Okay, guys. I guess that's it for now. Thank you, Susan. You're welcome. If that's all the question, guys, I'm going to end the live stream. If you guys want to talk about anything else, just let me know. Like all of these other speakers that you guys are listening to, just use your discernment and your intuition. I watch some of them sometimes too. You know what I mean? Like I said, I saw a great live stream on Instagram between Akura. She's not from this country. She's not from the United States. I don't know where she's from, but she's an Arcturian channeler, and Ishmael Perez the other day. And I really liked what they were saying. They were talking about, the synthetic intelligence, and they were talking about Sophia. I really liked what they were saying. Any comment on my email, Marizeus? I can't remember right off the top of my head which email you're talking about. Thanks, Renegade. Love you all too. Oh, she's from Germany, Akura or Aura or whatever her name is. Yes, remain sovereign and in your authority above all else. Above all else, for sure, for sure. Thank you all. Chat about psychedelics. Be careful. Be careful with the psychedelics. If you're going to do them, make sure you're in a good state of mind. There's nothing to be afraid of. The only thing to ever fear is your own ideas. Okay? That's the only thing to ever fear is your own ideas. They're going to open you up to the astral realms, and in the astral realms there's the host of things. So you really need to be in control of your thoughts, your emotions, and stepping in your sovereignty if you're going to do that sort of thing. I don't recommend, doing anything like that, but I think psychedelics in small amounts can be beneficial. Can be beneficial. Once in a great while, I will do them. Thank you, Tanya. I did start intentions for the dreamscapes, and wouldn't you know, I had a semi-lucid dream where I was stealing a spacecraft. That's so awesome. Are our children automatically star seeds? No. No, they're not. Not automatically. Do I have problems with black guys? What? Mushrooms are nice. Golden Teacher's my favorite. Yeah. Is astral shadow work better than third density shadow work? I mean, it's up close and personal in the astral, but I wouldn't say that it's better. Um, once you do your 3D shadow work, then you can open yourself up to the astral shadow work and do that stuff. It is kind of one and the same, but the aliens live in Antarctica. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many bases down there and places where extraterrestrials live. My next live is going to be next Saturday at 3 p.m. I'm just doing them once a week. Saturday at 3 p.m. Do I think mantras have healing attributes? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Any sort of a thing that's going to put your mind just kind of at rest and at ease, you know, is going to allow that healing to take over. All right. Any more questions? Thank you guys for joining me. Yeah, Crash 936. Yes, exactly. Exactly. You feel like you want to heal with your voice. Maybe that's your calling. Exactly. You're figuring it out, man. See, only you know these things. Nobody can tell you what your calling is. Yeah, Stargate and Star Trek are both shows based on real events, 100%. What type of music do I enjoy? I really like alternative stuff. I grew up in like the Nirvana, Alice in Chains era. Like Lane Staley is one of my favorite singers. Led Zeppelin, stuff like that. I didn't answer anyway whether I have a problem with black guys. No, I don't have a problem with black guys. I think that's a ridiculous question. Thoughts on soul retrievals? You know, I think everything that we're doing and everything we're talking about is about soul retrieval. I did live with a Native American shaman for a couple of years. They do like go into trances and like but the healing that I do, I think is all about soul retrieval. I think regaining your memories from past lives is soul retrieval. Your soul is just is basically your attachments to these ideas and memories. That's what your soul is consisted of. It's these memories built upon each other. Are we all just creations of Yabohat, the son of Sophia? I don't know. Are octopuses to be trusted in the astral? I would say no. I would say not in my experience. The dark night of the soul, what was this like for you? It was hell. It was hell just like everything else. Mad Season. Yeah, Mad Season's my jam, man. Do I know Rick from the Astral Club channel? No, I do not. Sorry. Thanks. I'm proud to be a Canadian. Thank you too. Well, you know, if I've been planted, I'm a walk-in of just 5 years ago. How do I remember all the life of the avatar you're in? Because the body retains memory as well. Okay. The body retains memory as well. The avatar remains the memory of previous souls. What does it mean when entities in your dreams have black eyes? I mean, it probably doesn't mean anything good. You probably would want to blow on them if you can. You imagine that it's the SI trying to stop you from going into the astral. That very well could be the black eyes. It could be the black goo inside of the SI manifesting itself. That's a cool thought. That's right. Thank you, Conscious Choice, for being a moderator. By the way, people can discuss further after the live stream on the Telegram chat at Astral Urmah. Yes, there is a Telegram chat, at Astral Urmah chat. You guys can go on there and talk about all sorts of things. I pop in once in a while. If you put, at Astral Urmah, I'll see that'll pop up on my Telegram, and I try to answer all of the questions that people ask me on there. Can I do a video on destiny versus free will? I did do one video on free will, and yeah, I could, what it comes down to is free will is what we see from lower densities. What we see from the third density is free will. Okay. But from higher densities, everything is fixed. And, yeah, I don't have my pen right here, but I'm gonna remember that. Destiny or free will. I can do a video on that. Thank you, Crash 936. I appreciate your sentiment. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm a walk-in, man. You said you were a walk-in. Can you share more about that, please? A walk-in is a soul that comes in the middle of a person's lifetime, or any time, in a person's lifetime. See, souls are they're complex. Okay? Souls have very complex desires, and they have simple desires too. Well, one of those desires is, maybe they just want to experience life from 5 years old to 10 years old. And they'll make an agreement with the other souls, or they'll just find an avatar that is, available, because all bodies are organic portals. Okay. I'm not the first soul to have this body. I'm not the first Jake. Okay. There have been countless souls that experience this experience. In fact, this experience could be all a program. Okay. But that kind of takes the fun out of it if you think about it that way, or it does for me. So I walked in, which basically means I came through the immersion program, okay, which is a Federation program that allows souls to come into these organic portals in the middle of the lifetime. So I was 42 years old when I walked in. That doesn't mean that that's how old I am in space, but from space, from outside of Earth, one of the popular ways of getting to Earth is through the immersion program. It's through the immersion pods. It makes perfect sense if you think about it. Never heard of Bobby Hemmett. Sorry. What happened to the Jake that exited when you entered in? I think he probably woke up in his pod, or he went back to source, one of the two. And he left because of a trauma that happened. You know, No to Boss 9369, the sacred melanin. I don't know. How do you astral project without that? And are you astral people connected to the Rizquians? I've never heard of the Rizquians, but that sounds interesting. Video on your take on twin flames. I feel like I'm gonna walk in every morning. Oh, that's funny. All right. How would somebody know if they're a walk-in? I mean, one of the signs is seeing the world as fake. If you look around and you're just like, this doesn't seem real to me, that's one of the signs that you're interfacing. Okay? That you're in immersion. Can you choose a life again once going to source? Yes. That's how people do it. You can choose a life again once you go to source. All righty. All right, guys. I think I'm going to end here. I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you so much. My email is astralurmah@gmail.com. If you need a one-on-one session, get a hold of me. If you just need to talk, get a hold of me. Get on Telegram, talk to the other members of the group. There's like over 400 people on there. Thank you, Reality Alchemist. You take care as well. I hope you enjoy the video. All right. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And thank you so much. I will see you next Saturday.